NI7's Challenge, race 1, the 26th of June 2010, with Colin Reid from pole position after good qualifying. On his way down to Deaders, on the outside of him. The back of Jimmy Dougan in 8th place off the grid. Andrew Parkinson gets a good start. Coming around the outside, back to the lead. It's Mark Crawford. Round Deaders. Jimmy Dougan now following Andrew Parkinson down. You can see the two leaders now side by side going down into Colonial. Crawford's got the brakes. Just has it. Crawford leads then. Colin Reid in second from Ricky Morgan, Ryan McGuinness. Those four breaking away slightly. Johnny Armstrong further in the field going into Colonial around the outside. Passes both Jimmy Dougan. Jimmy now following Parkinson, Ian Leinster around the outside of the two of them. Down round Fisherman's. Coming into the leaders now, coming into the chicane. Crawford out in front. Jimmy Dougan now following Leinster out of the chicane. Down to the hairpin for the leaders. Crawford ducks in. Back to Jimmy Dougan now, trying to get past Stevie on the way on into the chicane. Leaders back out onto the finish straight. Crawford leads from Colin Reid. Back with Jimmy Dougan now, still in behind Ian Leinster, looking for a way past, coming down into Colonial. He's up the inside. He's got him. Now he's following Andy Parkinson down. Back with the leaders going through Colonial. You have Crawford from Colin Reid, from Ryan McGuinness, from Richard Morgan, from Brian McGoldrick, Johnny Armstrong, Paul Forsyth, Ian Parkinson, Jimmy Dougan. Jimmy looking for a way past, coming through the chicane. Leaders approaching the hairpin. Colin goes wide. Gains on Mark. But just doesn't have the exit speed. Jimmy Dougan now looking up the inside of Andy Parkinson. Going to try and take him in the brakes, going into the hairpin. And he looks to have done enough. Oh, he's approaching Paul Forsyth, who stays wide. Back with the leaders. Colin's got a bit more speed coming out of the hairpin. He looks to go around the outside, round Deaders. And he looks to have him. Colin Reid into the lead. Down in Colonial. Jimmy on Paul Forsyth. Up the inside, going into Colonial. Just holds it. Jimmy up in the 7, back with the leader, Colin Reid. He's now got John McCandless's little Janetta in sight. Back with Jimmy now trying to chase Johnny Armstrong. Oh, and Johnny Armstrong's run wide. He's lost it coming out of the chicane. Colin now closing John McCandless. He's in a different class, in class A of the racing, so he has a different car engine. You see that Janetta's got a little bit more grunt going down the straights. Occasionally find it very difficult to get past him. Back with Jimmy Dougan now chasing Brian McGoldrick in the distance. You can just see Colin there closing up on the Janetta. Is he going to get him on the brakes? Oh, he just has. McCandless has given him enough room, and he's through. Mark Crawford and Ryan McGuinness now queuing up behind the Janetta too, and they're both just squeezing through on the way in. The Fisherman's. Back with Jimmy Dougan now in 6th. He's closing on Brian McGoldrick now, going through the chicane on his way out and down to the hairpin. Down the field, you have Stevie Wright, Sean McGoldrick, Robin McGrath. Jimmy Dougan closing under the brakes, down into the hairpin on Brian. Brian gets away from him a little bit on the exit. Back to the leaders, Colin Reid. Holding station in front of Mark Crawford. Back with Jimmy through Deaders, going down into Colonial. The leaders through. Jimmy now trying to close up on Brian. He's lining them up, going down into the hairpin. One of Jimmy's favourite overtaking spots. He brakes hard, he's up the inside. Oh, the car runs a bit wide. He's now hugging the outside. Did he get a good drive? No, Brian's up through the inside. Got a much better drive in the exit of the hairpin. Past the start, finish straight. And there go the leaders. Colin Reid from Mark Crawford with Ryan McGuinness shadowing them. Those three have a bit of a lead. Jimmy coming back at Brian now, going into Colonial. Oh, Ryan McGuinness tries up the inside of Mark Crawford. He shuts the door. Jimmy in close attendance following Brian. On down the field, Andrew Parkinson's under pressure from Ian Leinster with Johnny Armstrong, who spun off in behind them. Jimmy looking to get a good run out of the chicane down into the hairpin. Going down into the hairpin, he's late on the brakes again. He's past Brian. Tries to get a better run on the exit. Has he done it? No, he hasn't. Brian's got a bit more drive again out of the hairpin and comes up the inside of him, or inside of him for Deaders this time. Back to the lead. Colin Reid has opened up a little bit of a gap. Brian goes through Deaders in front of Jimmy Dougan for 5th place. The 3 leaders, meanwhile. Oh, Jimmy Dougan again late on the brakes, going into Colonial, up the inside. He's past Brian again. Now Jimmy's catching John McCandless. Will McCandless trip him up? See Stephen Donnelly there overtaking some back markers. Back with Jimmy now. He's watching Ricky Morgan go past McCandless. Stephen Wright's got past Sean McGoldrick and Robin McGrath there. Under brakes, Jimmy Dougan goes past Ricky Morgan. Meanwhile, Ricky goes up the inside on the way out. The 3 leaders go through Deaders. Ryan McGuinness starting to put pressure on Mark Crawford. Oh, Brian McGoldrick's gone past the 2 guys. Both Jimmy and Ricky going up the start-finish straight. Ryan getting closer to Mark Crawford for 2nd place. Now you have a train of cars. Paul Forsyth there at the back and Stephen Donnelly in Class A. The much bigger engine. Getting the net past. You should see him now coming past Jimmy Dougan. Stevie, Sean and Robin have their own fight. And there goes Stevie Donnelly through. Jimmy trying to carry as much speed. Now we're on board with Mark Crawford now, who's just been overtaken by Ryan McGuinness. For 2nd place, Mark's down to 3rd now. Colin Reid's built up a little bit of a lead. So it's Colin Reid from Ryan McGuinness from Mark Crawford. They're the leading 3. Ricky Morgan now being pressured by Jimmy Dougan. Got a couple more Class A runners and Radicals. A Radical and a Crossley pressurising them. You see him going through there. Graham Moore locks up the inside front wheel and has to go wide. Paul Forsyth and Andy Parkinson trying to get a bit of overtaking. The 2 Class A runners are through past Jimmy now. Jimmy now has to try to get back on terms with Richard Morgan and Brian for 4th place. Back first with the battle for the lead. We've got Colin in front of Ryan. Ryan goes around the outside. Mark Crawford goes around the outside of them both. Just holds it. Gets back on the power there, onto the straight. Jimmy Dougan goes round now. He's back at 6th. The leading 3. Reid leading, but for how long? It's so close.